The most dangerous phase of recovering from a badminton injury is not the acute, painful phase. It is the phase where you start feeling good again. Feeling good is seductive and feels like progress. But the gap between feeling good and being structurally ready to play competitive badminton is precisely the window where most re-injuries occur. And understanding why that gap exists changes how you make the return to sport decision. Pain resolves earlier than tissue heals. Your body has a sophisticated system for modulating pain signals. As the acute inflammatory phase resolves, the tissue transitions into the proliferative repair phase, and the pain alarm quiets significantly, not because the structure is fully functional, but because the acute phase triggers that drove the alarm have dissipated. New collagen fibers are being produced during this phase, but they are immature, randomly oriented, and mechanically inferior to the original tissue. The tissue can tolerate low-level loads without producing pain. It cannot withstand the explosive multi-directional forces, the rapid deceleration, and the sustained intensity of a competitive badminton match. For ligament injuries, the maturation of new collagen into functional, mechanically competent tissue takes 6 to 12 months. For tendon injuries, 3 to 6 months. For muscle strains, 4 to 12 weeks depending on severity. In every case, pain resolves substantially before maturation is complete, which means feeling pain-free is a poor indicator of structural readiness, and returning to full play at pain resolution is returning to a structurally vulnerable tissue. So what does genuine readiness to return to badminton actually require? The first criterion is full, pain-free active range of motion matching the uninjured side across all planes relevant to badminton, shoulder full overhead range for smashing, knee full flexion and extension for lunging and jumping, ankle full dorsiflexion, and plantar flexion for split step mechanics. Any remaining restriction indicates that tissue protection is still active and the structure is not fully prepared. The second criterion is strength symmetry. The injured side should test within 10% of the uninjured side on standardized muscle testing for the muscles relevant to the injury, quadriceps and hamstrings for knee injuries, external rotators, and scapular stabilizers for shoulder injuries, calf and peroneal muscles for ankle injuries. The 4 hop tests most widely used for lower limb strength assessment are the single leg hop for distance, triple hop for distance, crossover hop for distance, and timed 6-meter hop. Each loads the limb through a different movement pattern and energy demand, so 90% symmetry across all 4 confirms competence under varied explosive loads, not just in one direction. The third criterion is functional movement quality, the ability to sprint, decelerate, lunge laterally, jump and land, and perform badminton-specific footwork patterns without pain, visible compensation, or movement hesitation. Compensation, the hip drop, the inward knee collapse, the shortened stride, indicates that the neuromuscular control patterns for safe loading of the injured structure have not been fully re-established. The fourth criterion is sport-specific endurance. Performing the movement once without pain is categorically different from performing it 300 times across 3 sets of a close match while significantly fatigued. Return to sport testing should always include a fatigue component because most re-injuries occur late in sessions when neuromuscular control is at its most compromised. The fifth criterion, increasingly recognized in the research, is psychological readiness, the absence of significant fear of re-injury measured on a validated scale. The ACL return to sport after injury scale is the most widely used instrument for this purpose. A 12-item questionnaire completed in under 3 minutes, scored from 0 to 100, with scores above 65 consistently associated with meaningfully lower re-injury rates and better long-term outcomes in the published research. Players who return with high fear of re-injury scores have measurably higher re-injury rates independent of their physical test scores because fear alters movement patterns in ways that increase rather than reduce injury risk. Formal return to sport testing by your physiotherapist provides objective confirmation that you meet each of these criteria. It protects the months of rehabilitation you have invested in getting back to this point. The complete badminton injury guide, including return to play criteria for the most common injury types, is in the link in the description.